Hey guys, how's it going? This is Dave Sebastian, coordinator of Mentoring Arts Programming with Wayside Youth and Family. I am here with you guys again today on YouTube to talk about making some ghostly images in Photoshop. This probably should have been day before yesterday for Halloween. Halloween was a weekend day though, and I just didn't get to it. I like to imagine it's the whole season is holiday, is Halloween. So, yeah. So I want to tell you guys real quick about what we're going to use today and what we're going to do. All right. So first thing that we're using is Photoshop 2020, which is the most advanced graphics editor in the world, without a doubt. I've been using Photoshop since about 94, 95. It's an amazing thing. It's come such a long way. One of the most exciting things is today, it used to be Photoshop was pretty hard for folks to use because it's very expensive. It was like $2,000 to get the program, so it was extremely difficult to be able to use it. But it also had a big problem with piracy. So due to the fact that it was so expensive, but so industry standard, you really couldn't even try to get a job in graphics if you didn't at least have some experience using it. But if you don't have a job in graphics, you can't afford to buy it. So it was very complicated. The hope, and most of the folks I knew who had it had gotten it from a job who purchased it for them to use it, and then they were able to keep it after that had happened, or working outside of that employment. So I think that's how I got it. I got someone to buy it for me, some job or some project, and I've been using it for a long time. But today, to try to get more people interested in Photoshop, or because it's the industry standard, Adobe's decided to make it a monthly subscription instead. Just Photoshop and Lightroom are around $10 a month, which is completely unbelievable from back in the day when we had to come up with $2,000. So that's kind of exciting. If anything in here is interesting to you guys, do a trial. What do you got to lose? Photoshop is unbelievable. And if you haven't used it, you will. And, if you, even starting out, the piece we're going to do today, I go kind of fast, I suppose, when I'm doing Photoshop. I'm going to, as much as I possibly can, explain everything and as clearly as possible. I am watching what we're doing, and so I can see you guys if you have comments or anything like that. So please reach out if you feel like it. You know what I mean? So why don't we kind of get into what we're doing here? Just want to throw this thing on super quick so that we can all get the same stuff going on. Cool. All right, so the devices that we're going to use, Photoshop 2020 we just talked about, and the other thing we're going to use is, here I have my MacBook Pro, my iPad Pro. This is the 12.9, and this is a Generation 2. I'm using a program called AstroPad. I can actually show that to you guys. So AstroPad is basically, I don't know if you can see it very clearly. If you look around here, this arrow, this is this walking ants kind of thing, and this darkness up here. This is telling us what we're looking at on AstroPad on the iPad. Why we want to do that, who cares, right? The reason we would want to do it is because of an input device. We have an opportunity to be able to draw the stuff we need. Like right here, you see the way the cursor is moving? That's me scratching my screen or moving my finger on my screen. You can also draw by touch, move Photoshop around by touch. Touch, as far as image manipulation, is kind of challenging because of the multiple buttons required and tools and stuff, but it's a little bit better when doing selections and that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of tricks to doing selections, but I figured I would set it up because it's funner to be able to show you guys a way to use multiple tools than to simply show you once again Photoshop, which I feel like I've showed you guys a few times over the last couple of months. If anyone is interested, on my YouTube channel here, our YouTube channel, there's around 35 videos covering probably around 20 projects and pieces. So if anybody's interested and doesn't have time to sit here and watch me live, jump on there. Like, go check it out. It's it's a lot of work, and I'm hoping something in there would be interesting to you, or to anybody who might be interested. And that gives us the freedom of doing it whenever. I'm always most interested in watching videos at 2 o'clock in the morning, it seems. Cool. All right, so this here is, give you 1 second, over there. So this is my desktop here, and this is Photoshop 2020. Right now we don't have anything open, so it has nothing to do. These are some images. This is the images that we're going to work with today. This fellow here is my wife's cousin's boyfriend, and this is his dad. He lost his dad in the military, so he's interested in bringing him into this photo. Not impossible at all. Is it going to be challenging? A little bit, due to the reflection here on the glass in front of this guy. You can literally see someone standing here holding their camera up. That comes through up here and stuff also. His posture, his size, so there's going to be some things we're going to have to adjust. These things are currently in my downloads folder. So to bring them into Photoshop, we open up Photoshop, Command O. I use a lot of keyboard shortcuts. I will tell you about them. If you want to use them, fine. If you don't want to use them, that's also fine. These are the two images that are here. If you take a look, you can see. Maybe you can't. I'm in your way. In any case, these two images right here are the ones that we're looking for. So we just grab one, Shift, Select, grab the other one, and then you can hit Open, but you can also just hit Enter. Photoshop knows what we're asking for, so it pops right up in there. Just real quick, let's jump over to this little thing I wanted to show you guys, which is the Apple Pencil docks in the back of this machine. And that's how you charge it. I was hoping the pencil would be, whoops, there we go. Sorry about that. I was hoping that the pencil would be hexagonal when it came out, but it turns out that it is not. Oh, it's my first day. It turns out that it is not, but that it has one flat side. And that flat side magnetizes down the side of the pad, and that's how it charges and how it pairs. This is super convenient. I can't even tell you, because back on Generation 1, which I'm actually using a Generation 1 here as my switcher, you had to plug it into the end. And that just never seemed like a good idea to me. Since I've found that there is a cord adapter that came with the pencil that I never noticed, that allows you to use your cord. So that seems like a better way to go. But, so in any case, that's how you charge the pencil. Now I believe our pencil is pretty well charged. Been in there for a little bit. All right. So now that we have our two images in here, just want to get a little bit closer. Here I'm just manipulating the iPad to get me a little bit closer. All right. So now we're looking first at this image here. The first, thing, I guess, is going to be to try to trim this guy out. I feel like I have really a lot going on. Get out of you guys' way here. There we go. All right, now we got a little bit more room to work. All right, so we're gonna pull this guy out. That's probably gonna be the first thing that we want to do. So if we go over here to, if we do Command W, which is a keyboard shortcut, actually it's just W, that gives us our magic wand tool. Now we want to hold Shift and say Shift W. Now you get this box right here. Actually, let's just take me out of there totally. So this box over here at the top, which is currently selected, I can show you guys a little bit more. Oh, not that one. Just go out here and say, oops. All right. This, so it's the fourth tool down. It's in the magic wand section, and it's called the object selection tool. So this is a new tool kind of for me. I dig it though. It's been doing a really good job for me. All you do is drag out a rectangle around what you want to select, let go, and like every time I've used it so far, it simply grabs, you know, the entire image. And I think that's amazing. Now the only thing is I want to make sure we didn't miss anything. No, it looks good. This piece right here is called the navigator. Really, really cool because you could do this, you know, which is to move around inside the image. Right, or way up here. I used to always get lost in Photoshop. I'd be too close, you know, and I just couldn't handle it, so I'd get lost. Now you can literally drag anywhere around the image you want to work. A lot of folks get in extremely close to do the work that they're doing, and that's cool. I don't have to necessarily work that close. Cool, so he is isolated. But the problem is that he is isolated on his background layer. So we don't want him to be there to be nothing, right? So think of this guy's printed on a piece of paper, and we're going to cut it out, and there's going to be a hole in it. So that's fine if we're throwing it away, right? So we just say Command X, which is cut. He's gone, and then we just delete this image, right? So now we say Command W, and it asks us this: do you want to save the changes to this thing? And you hit D. I don't want to, and then it's gone, right? So now we have, this is the background image that we want to get this guy into, and we're going to just try some different ways to do that. You know, there's a whole bunch of effects and stuff and brushes that can, you know, that we can kind of mess around with. So the first one we're going to use is paste, because copy, you know, select, copy, paste is the eldest computer action in the world, I think. So paste in Photoshop is Command V, and there we get this guy. Now clearly, we can't work with this guy right now, so we need to switch from our selection tool to manipulation tool. So V is the move tool, and we just grab this dude and we put him wherever we want. Now we know that we don't have enough to put him up here because he doesn't have legs or feet. And we know, and this side of him over here seems to lend itself towards being on the side too, because it's real flat. You know, over here, not so much, but this arm is real flat, as if it was going down the side or something. I think we could work with that probably though. So if this guy was at your graduation, where would he be? If you hold Command and hit T, that gives us the transform controls. Transform controls are awesome and easy to work with. You simply grab any of the squares and you can adjust the size of your artwork. And you can really do a lot, you know, like all of these things: warp, distort, flipping it. Always like distort when it comes to like ghostly images, you know. Then you get multiple handles, you know, so you can adjust in stranger kind of ways, which is always fun, like this, right? Give him 3D like he's coming towards the camera. Of course, just silly. Now none of these things will engage until you hit enter, but if you hit enter, all that silly stuff that we just did is one undo, which is Command Z. So now we're back right where we started. Now before we go too much further, we're looking here at this guy, right? And he needs some stuff, right? So he is currently on his own layer. So anything we do to him will be non-destructive, one of my favorite words. It doesn't feel like it means anything. In Photoshop, honestly, nothing is necessarily destructive unless you save it in the wrong format. or forget to save. And in today's Photoshop, you can't even do that because it basically auto saves. You know, if we go up here into preferences and you take a look and say, I'm trying to remember which one it is. I think it is, let's try general. There we go. So if you take a look in here, this is how much RAM Photoshop is currently using. But if you take a look over here, this will save 50 history states. That's pretty cool. So you can undo back 50 steps. All right, so one thing that we talked about just now before we brought this in was this reflection on the glass. You can actually see across his outfit the person taking the photo. This is crappy, you know, that's not what we want. So we're going to do some manipulation with this directly. So the first tool we're going to use is the Magic Wand tool, which is I on the keyboard. Right now, under the Magic Wand tool, I mean the eyedropper tool, which is what we actually need. Right now under there is the rulers. So if we just go Shift-I a couple of times until you get an eyedropper looking tool, and you go in here and click once, this will select the color that that his sleeve is. So now you could switch to the zoom tool, but you could also go over here and get a little closer like this, and we could move this box around to kind of get us where we want to do. Now before I do anything, I would like to try a filter real quick, which is the sharpen filter. And just sharpen, you know. Didn't do much to help with this guy. A little bit, took out a little of the stepping, but that's kind of it. So we're going to have to use our brush tool. Up here we can select the size, you know, the brush we're using. This is our brush library. We can get anything, you know, you can imagine. Dual brushes. We can adjust color dynamics. All different types of, you know, these are all the options on all the brushes that are in here. For this one, I think we're going to go with a dry media. And actually, let's try it over here. Oh yeah, I feel like there's a better interface for brushes here. This is the same, obviously, but I kind of just like this one. So I think we're going to use a soft round, and we're going to use that at on its own layer, right? So there's this guy, but we're going to, a keyboard shortcut is Command-Shift-N, which is new layer, and we can call it paint because it will be. And then I like to use this drop down here to color. He's a military guy, so maybe we'll say green. So now that gives us a green line, and that we know that that's where we're going to put our paint. So we're on that layer now, and we know that we're in the brush type that we want. Now we just want to see how big this brush is in relation to the rest of the guy. You know, not bad at all. One sec, I want to just move the whole deal over a little bit. So what we need to do here is down here in this area right here, you can see there's a few options in there. Now we're on our paint layer, and right now we can change the type of layer it is, all this information, you know, if it's a normal layer or like, you know, a layer adjustment, the opacity. And this is what I want to mess with. So I want to take the opacity down to, you know, maybe like 50%. And then when we paint, it won't seem so obvious. Like at the moment, it doesn't look that obvious, but it's there, you know. And so I would rather see if we could try to figure out a way to make it less obvious. You know what I mean? So that's what we're going to do. So like I said, I have this brush here. You could do the same thing with the opacity of the brush, which is up here at the top, right? Like right there. So it's either way. You know, I feel like this layer, I might put some other colors on So I figured I would leave that, adjust the layer as opposed to the paint, and then the brush, I mean, and then this layer will be where we put all of our paint. We can also make our brush a little larger. We noticed from earlier when we were painting that the brush could definitely be a little bigger. And now we just go in here and see if we can paint. Paint some of this photographer's shadow off of our guy's outfit. And going with a low opacity makes it feel a little bit more like lighting and a little bit less like adjustment. You know what I mean? Now I think we're going to need to lighten our color a bit to make this work. But honestly, a couple of browns in his outfit isn't bad as long as it fits in. And a big part of shadows is the fact that it's the difference from everything around it, the organizational element. So see, if we can break up the shape of this person's arms who were taking the picture, then that's a step in the right direction. So if, so one thing I'm focusing on for sure is breaking up the outline of this background information. Right. Unfortunately, now we're starting to really highlight the glass. I'm not sure why, but it definitely seems to be highlighting the glass more, than I wanted it to. So this is far from like really a nice job. We're just trying to get it to not look so much like the woman's reflection. Or, I'm sorry, I have no idea if it's a woman. I don't know why I said that. The person taking the picture. It's like somehow her shadow is giving me the impression of if she's a lady or not. So here I'm just darkening a little so that we can try to build up a little. And again, just try to break up this line here. Still kind of tough. Let's try something different. E on the keyboard is the erase tool. You can also set its opacity, which is right here on the toolbar. We're going to bring it down in the 60s, and just see if we can go through here and take out a little. Looks like 60s is too much, so we want to go. How about the 40? Yeah, how about 35? So here I'm just trying to erase the specific outline of the shadow that was there. And we go back up here and back to our brush, which is B on the keyboard. And now try to fill that same area in with the brush we're using. We might need to up this a little bit. There's a smudge tool. It's like looks like a finger. I'm trying to remember where it is. I very often forget where things are in Photoshop. I think it's just one of the things you do. So this is a smudge tool. Right now it's very small. We're looking for it to have basically the same size of what we had for a paintbrush. Now what we're trying to do here is to smudge one paint, one color into the other. Something you have to watch out for is don't be on a layer that there isn't any paint, that you haven't painted on, because then you can't really smudge it if doesn't exist, right? All right, let's see if we can smudge around a little bit here. All right. Right now we're in basically black. So what I'm going to do here is we're using our smudge tool. I want to go back to our brush tool. I want to make that brush tool a bit smaller. Whoops, wrong one. Right now it's like 50. Down to maybe 15. And then we want to get up in here a lot closer. Actually, we're going to make it even smaller. Let's go with 10. There's a bunch of ways to do anything in Photoshop, and a big one is changing the size of a brush. You can write it in, use a slider. There's a couple of other ways too. So we're looking at this guy close, and we can see that we're losing his pocket here, right? So I'm going to do this and hold Shift. So Shift is going to give us a perfectly straight line. Shift, right? Shift, right? So I think that'll help to make his uniform move away from the photo. And then I think we're going to do the same thing here, which is to just run a black line down his shoulder to his wrist. Here too. Okay. Now we can take a look, see what's happening here. Looking kind of all right, actually. I think we go back in with our eyedropper tool, and we try again. Got to make sure you're on the right layer when you select with your eyedropper tool. Otherwise, you won't get anything. So we got our 50% amount here. We're way down at 10. We're going to need to go back up to like 30. And then work in here. Finally, this photographer is starting to disappear. If we zoom that one down a bit, really can't really see the reflection of the photographer, which is a big thing I wanted to make sure of. Just want to look. I know this is like uncomfortably close. In fact, here you can really see where things aren't working. All right, well. Only thing with using a slider is it's real easy to go too far. So here we got this line of his shirt. Go back down to 10 for a sec. Well, let's go on this layer. Huh. Oh yeah, we had lowered the opacity on our eraser. There we go. Alright, so now that we got a couple of these things going, let's take a look at the color we're working with, and let's just go up a little, right where it is. This will give us another different type of gradation that'll hopefully take away a little from what we had to put in to take away the photographer. All right. Hmm. All right. Now there's kind of a cool thing that we can do. Which is we could take this image here and we can go up to edit, stroke, gives us this pop-up. First we start, what I usually do is start with color. We want to, in this case, we want to go on the outside, and then just how big we want it. I'm thinking maybe like 2. And then we say okay. And so see what this does is put a black outline around the character. I've always referred to this as cell shading, because that's what it feels like it is. Everything has like a line around it, like because it has to pop off the background. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to, see it. All right. Excuse me. Get a little liquid here. Be right with you. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we got an outline around the guy. He looks pretty good, but unfortunately I think his pants don't look that good. We got his upper body looking okay. So now we're basically going to do, like the same thing. We use our eyedropper tool, and we click on where we want it to be, and then we go back with B, and we go up to our layer called paint, and we try to paint in some of the rest of that shadow. Now it'd be a natural tendency to go in and blow out the black and just black his pants, but his pants are going to look kind of weird if they're super black and the rest of him is lighter. Not to mention, if you have a variety of colors, they definitely make our brain, fall for it a little bit more. All right, let's get in here a little bit. I'm going to use E again. We're on this layer. Command Z is undo. We're going to want our smudge tool again. See if we can smudge this little piece here so it's not so obvious. I also want to smudge this. In the eraser, seems like some of the paint we put in there was what was messing with us, messing with me. All right. This layer is at 100%. Our brush is at 100%. Wonder why it's not covering a little bit better. These are his hands. All right. So we're going to kind of hold off on them right there for a sec, because I think that, actually, let's hold on one sec. Let's go back in here with our smudge tool. Make it larger. Go down here. We want to be on, looks like this layer. And we want to just smudge all of this together, so that it looks less, scratchy. We want to just make sure let's try a new one. Actually, that is where we want to be. Maybe we try this. This is the W, is the magic wand tool. Right now we have it on the object selection tool. There we go. And we do Shift W until we get the magic wand tool. And then we can go on here and select his pants. And you see we get too much selection there, so deselect. It's clearly too much. So we can go up here and change our tolerance. This is 32. What if we went with 22? Not much difference. So we just deselect. The same thing that we were doing. Stay on this layer. Go with our paintbrush, make it bigger. There's an error message there. All right. All right, so we're just gonna paint in here a little bit. Got some stuff happening. Hey, here's Maul.
Is that a meme?
No.
What is it?
That's a photo that somebody asked me to put their dad who died in the military in the photo. So this is the photo, and that's the background photo.
Why did they want that to be the background photo?
Because he couldn't be in there at their graduation, because he had passed away a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see if we can make it like he's hanging out with them, sort of like a ghost.
Okay.
Just gonna try a couple of different ways.
Well,
Maul doesn't agree, but
minutes.
You leaving?
Yeah, we're gonna leave. You coming with us or no?
I gotta do this. So no.
Did you literally just start? What time did you
No,
start?
I've been doing it for
40 minutes.
40 minutes. Yep.
Why did you start so late?
That's 10 minutes. All right. Well, I gotta get back to these guys. Say bye, Maul.
Bye.
Maul's going to sleep over, so we won't see her later. You a good girl. Call me if you need me.
I won't.
Well, I'm here if you do.
Love you.
Love you too. All right, you guys. Sorry about that. Well, at least you got to see my Molly. She's a good kid. All right, so just now when you saw that, we noticed that we have a problem, right? Which is that all of our manipulation is now on our background image, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to select that guy. Then we're going to hold Shift, select, 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 and we're going to group them, which is Command G. So now they're in a group, right? So if we use V, which is our move tool, we grab our group, which we want to close. Oop. Yikes. Sometimes you just can't get it. Select the group. Man, why is it doing that? All right, well, apparently I was totally wrong, and I can't show you guys that at all. All right, if we select everything, we can move him. Right, so clearly he's a little too big. Right, so if we do Command T, and we make him a little smaller. Oh, where you going, dude? There we go. Seems like he should be taller than them, but not by a lot. And he's going to have to be behind them because he has the no feet. Yeah, like he'd have to be like somehow behind them. And since he's kind of facing this way, we'd be a little bit on the limited side. We could make him very small and have him standing over here in the background. Still going to need some feet though. You can't do anything while the transform controls are open, so you have to make sure you hit enter. In here is my Facebook page. So if we go over here and say soldier photo, we get some images in here. So we want to say soldier dress uniform. So we get a few dudes and ladies. Just take a look through here and see if we could find a dude standing kind of at attention, like in here. A lot of pictures, people standing at attention, but not so many showing their feet. This one wasn't that bad. Maybe we could try this. Not a lot of feet available to us here. All right, take this away. Just checking some variety of different military endeavors. See if we can find some feet. Sure, the ones that look pretty good are in camo. Nobody shows their feet. Maybe we could just go with that. Maybe we could just grab this image of this guy. Let's go with our magic wand tool all the way down here in color. I don't know if this is going to work, you guys, so bear with me. Alright, so we move our box. Then we could check our background, see if there's any in our background that has the right pants, right legs. Oh. Well, there doesn't seem anybody back there, but... Alright, so... what we want to do here is we're going to take our paintbrush and we're going to click in this spot and then hold shift and click in this spot, then this spot, and then this one. And that is too long. Undo, undo, undo. Undo is Command Z. A little better. Let's try this. Command undo, undo, undo. Let's try this. And then we got the transform tool up again. So this time we want to say, guessing it's distort. And then we can try to pull. That's not what I wanted to do. Undo, enter. Marquee selection tool, select just down here, right, and then transform, and then wonder what happens with this. I think we can only do those things. All right, we want to do distort, if we get it down like this, it already kind of reads like he's standing there in his pants. Deselect, right? Now we need another one. We want to put this on our layer 2. So this time we just want to start around right here to give the impression of a second leg. Oh, that was bad. Let's use our eyedropper tool. A great thing about the eyedropper tool is you can use it for a sec. Like just hold it and be able to. There we go. Be able to make it look like there's a little bit more happening. And then we can totally cheat and go and use our lasso tool, which is L on the keyboard. This one I have active right here is the polygonal lasso tool, which just means it gives us points instead of being totally freehand. What I wanted to do with this was to jump into our background layer, say copy, and then paste. Command C is copy, Command V is paste. Where it pasted, I'm not sure. And then V. Oh. Where'd it go? Oh, this is it, right? All right. There we go. All right, so we got this guy's shoe, just to help give us a like a shoe that we can work with, you know. Doesn't look bad size-wise, although that buckle's not good. All we want is to try to make it look like he's got that on. Actually, don't really mind that so much. Let's try a little skew. Actually, didn't we? How did perspective look? So that was a second paste. So I pasted, and now I've pasted again. So we still got the move tool, and when you paste something in, it creates its own layer. So we have that again. So this shoe is a little bit smaller because we made that one a little bigger. So now we're going to go in here to the shoe, because I'm guessing if it had a buckle like that, it wouldn't have it on both sides. So we just go in here with our B brush, make it around 50%, make it around 30, size 30. And we don't have to paint to black it out or anything. We just want to push it down so that it doesn't appear to be there. Next we want to move this, well, next thing we want to do is cut out all the grass that's around it. So we really need our polygonal lasso tool again, because this will allow us to do something like this. Alright, so now we hit Command Shift I, which is select inverse, and hit delete. So now we have nothing but the shoe. I left a little bit of that grass sticking up so that it looked like it was in the grass. Now the only problem is over here in our other piece, the grass is really too much. So we should probably put that back. Let's see what happens if we undo. Neither of them look that much better than the other. So we'll say Command Shift Z is redo. And then we go back to our move tool, which is V. And we move it right down in this area. All right. And then we back away. Deselect. It's funny he has these shoes on. So now we go on our front layer and use our eraser and erase. Undo. On the wrong one, I think. And then our tool is way too large. We want to go down to more like 10 or 15. So here, all I'm doing is to try to make the front boot exist in front of the last one. That last swipe was not good. All right. Don't really care for this buckle either. All right, now our smudge tool. All right. With our smudge tool, which is also extremely large, we're going to get in and smudge out some of this this grass so that it blends in with the background a little. Maybe even just the top edges. All right. Now we want to go back into our paintbrush. And this time we want to use a really sharp brush as opposed to the one we're currently using. This time we want to use let's see. All right. Looking for kind of a sharp line here. Let's move out and take a look at that. Whoop, not that far. He's there. He's there. He's got shoes. All right, so the same thing we were doing is we want to hold shift, select both of these layers and add them to the group. Whoops. Undo. Now we can go up and take a look at our group. So now we have him in our group. All right. I'm thinking now that we have all of our general adjustments done on him. Although I don't know, that arm still to me looks too adjusted. You know what I mean? See? This uniform definitely has some issues. I think we go in with our magic wand tool. Wonder where that scribble is. That one doesn't have anything on it. Oh yeah, that's an important one. I think we're going to take, let's see, it was shoes. That's what the little ones were, right? Shoes. Yep. So these ones are shoes. You can always, that's layer adjustments, but we can always go in here and say shoe 02, enter, and then we can check this one, and this one is shoe 1. All right, so that's a good journalistic method to keep yourself, keep yourself knowing what's where and what you need. So now we're taking a look at this and seeing what we can do. Guy's in there, the guy is in where we need him to be. He's got a little bit of weight, and having legs helps. I don't know if his feet should be further away. What do you guys think? If we select one foot and then select the other, and then use our move tool, we can move his feet down a little. See if it makes more sense to have him be taller. We'd have to fill in those lines, but what if we move them just a little? Does it read more? I don't know. Maybe not. Height-wise, I think he looks pretty good. Don't know why you can see through his boot here. We need to do something with that. All right. Let's go in there. Like I said, the magic wand tool, you can just hold I for a sec and then go back to B. All right. Do not want to be able to see the top of that boot. That is not at all something we want, since his boots, this character wearing these boots has jeans on. This guy is a military guy. Why don't we jump over here real quick and just say thought we had something for a sec there, but nobody had on the right kind of boots. How about soldiers in military boots? You can look for anything you want endlessly in Google, and sometimes it helps, and sometimes it's a complete waste of time. This particular occasion, I'm going for helps, and we'll see. These guys look pretty good. So here's what I usually do if I'm getting something off of Google. You can just say save image to downloads. Take a look. There's the image we wanted to use. Jump into my Finder, downloads, black combat boots, open with Photoshop, and now we have this. So we're not going to use much of this. All we need is a pair of boots. And actually, like, this right here looks kind of good. So let's go back to our polygonal lasso tool. And it just occurred to me that he's sort of facing the other way, but I don't think that'll be a big deal. All right. So now we just say cut or copy. Control Tab is something I like to use a lot. That goes from open open image to open image. In here, I want to say paste. And there we have it. Done. All right, obviously the first thing we need to do is to make them a lot bigger. Not going to get a ton of resolution out of them. Let's jump back and see what that looks like as far as resolution. They could work, I think. So from here, we can do transform again, and we can say flip horizontal, which is what we needed to do. And then we can move over here. Since we have two boots there, we can make them bigger. Oh. Oh. Forgot to switch to the move tool. All right. So now we could just go in with the eraser tool and get rid of all this background junk. Right, and just bring us right in close to this outfit. Oh. Gotta make sure we turn off our other two shoe layers so that we're not erasing them. So all we want to do is erase this background stuff so we have more like just his boots here. Now we just back up a little bit. Now it looks to me like the whole deal, it's got to be moved over and up a little. Excuse me. Make sure we get his legs right under him. Now we want to transform this so that we can skew it just a little. Do that, and then two finger click, and now we want to distort, I believe. Yeah, well, let's try distort and see what happens. No, that's not what we wanted. All right, let's undo that. Let's try again. This time we want, how about warp? Warp gives you these sort of interesting controls. Like you can grab one and stretch this part, or stretch this part, which is kind of what I want to do here. Alright, so it helps us to kind of pull it in a bit. And then we just hit enter. And now we have sort of like something going on there. They're too big though. Alright, so here we're going to erase part of the top here. Oh, get a lot closer. Alright, so we're going to pretty much try to mimic his jacket. you know. So we want to use our eraser for that. And just take this top away. And then we want to all right. Gotta select everybody. Oh, maybe we don't. All right. Sometimes it's cool to take a quick measurement, see if you're doing it totally wrong or not. What do we got here? All right, so this layer here. Go back to the eraser tool, which is what we're supposed to be using. Hey guys, sorry about that. So, I don't know, we're having some trouble with these legs. I think that we need to erase a little bit of this one, take everything else away, and just work on this one. All right, making sure we can erase it, just slim it down a little. All right. Then we just turn everybody back on. Let's see how things go with that. I think there's a couple of things we could take away. Not that. Alright, so that we know that's our new legs. So we got those turned off. What do we have turned on? This one, which we need, and this one. Alright, so we want to work on this layer. Alright, and use our eraser. Use our Magic Wand tool again. Back to our brush tool. Let's try this, undo. Need that one to stay. This is just a little bit of cleanup, you know. You don't want to have, obviously, too many layers. You know, you don't want to have too many things extraneous. We need this one. This one. I can throw away. Keep that one. That one. Keep that one. These two guys here, like this one and this one, should blend together, which is Command E. That'll give us those two layers in one. And then we know this new leg thing is something we're working on. So I think we're gonna go in here. What happens if we take that away? Alright. So we're gonna go in this layer and we're gonna marquee select right through here. And we're gonna say delete, deselect, turn our legs on. Alright, now turn our legs. Enter. I want to be on our leg layer. Command T is transform. These legs are too long. I don't mind that. So then it's this and the eraser tool, and we do basically the same thing we just did with the other part. Let's go with our smudge tool. Whoops. Brush tool. What? Alright, kind of give the guy. I'm going to get a lot smaller brush. And this time I think we'll use something more a dry media brush. Let's see. There we go. But let's make sure we got this guy around 10. Okay. I'm going to go back into this layer again, hit our edit again, stroke. This time I'm going to try 5. We got outside. I'm going to try to pull. See, 5 is way too much. I was just trying to get a little bit more. I'm going to use our object selection tool again. This time we're just going to try to select his head. Select the inverse. So now we have everything selected except his face. And go with our B. Jump. Deselect. I don't know. Let's jump back to as far as this photo was. All right. Let's take our whole character, our whole situation, go with our move tool. Let's see him a little closer. So if he was standing here, right, he'd be a bit taller because he's not, you know, in proportion to them. All right, let's take a look at that. Cool. All right, so the next thing we need to do, I showed you guys this trick, which is you hold Option and click an eye and you only get that eye. I kind of dig it. All right, so next we're going to use that same object selection tool, which is W on the keyboard. In this case, we're going to select Sarah, who is our person right here, and see how it does. It did a super crappy job. Deselect. Let's try again. There you go. There you go. Now we're going to go up here to showing this. All right, and then we're going to hit delete on. Oh. If it's your background layer, right, you can't delete from it. So we need to do it like this. Huh. Oh, because we're not actually selecting anything? Is that the deal? So that's kind of like what I wanted to do. So now you can see here that we got a little bit going on. I think we want to do the same reselection tool and go to each of our layers. There we go. Oh, did we lose our feet? No, I think we're good. I think we need to do the same thing again with his feet. Reselect. Maybe we gotta move our guy back a little. Oh, some on this part too. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to group this whole deal. All right, so now he's one piece, so we can move him as one piece. I think what we're going to do is we're going to move him over more. All right. I took that card. Now we need our object selection tool again. This time I just want to get like her feet. Oh, on the wrong layer. That's really terrible. Let's try the quick selection tool. There we go. That's what we're looking for. This is the quick selection tool, which is a tool I've definitely used a lot more than the new, somewhat newer object selection tool. I feel like it's probably been around for 4 or 5 years. So I just have used the other one far more. Alright, still got to get more of her. Getting there. I mean, of course, we moved our other character, so let's try our object selection tool again, because who knows? Oh, this one's the quick selection tool. On the wrong layer again. We did alright with that one, but let's try Shift W. There we go, that looks really good. Now we keep that on and put our character in there. Don't like that his boot overlaps like her feet. We need a regular E. Oh, let's try that. Yeah, let's see how that looks. Now in here, turn that one off for a sec. Same deal. Whoops. I want to go back to our object selection tool. All right. Let's try to open one of those files again. All right. What I want to do here is to grab this arm. Right. All right. Let's say copy, Control Tab, Command V, right? Command T. Oh. That one doesn't look good at all. So let's jump back over here. Let's say arm around. There you go, super cute. So what do we need? We need that right hand. Like this one. That is a copyrighted image. You can see with this watermarking on it that they don't want us to use that one. It's okay. So now you could download that, like I just did. Right click, save image to downloads. Another way you could do it on the Mac is Command Shift 4. And this gives you the screen cap feature. So you can convert this image directly into a screen cap. And so then you can drop it in wherever you want. So we just say Command O, open. It is always on your desktop, a screenshot. So we get this. Now we use our polygonal lasso tool again. And we cut that, Command Shift, and paste. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Gotta go back. Cut. Paste. All right, let's get in here and take a look at this. This hand we've brought in here. Alright. So we're going to try that same guy, that object selection guy. Oh, I screwed that up. Get out as much of the big stuff as we can. Okay. So we just try to cut away this background, right? Let's turn off everybody but our hand layer, and we can take a look at what we still need to get rid of. What the heck? Oh, that's why. Deselect. Totally classic mistake when image manipulating is forgetting that you have a selection, which makes doing anything else impossible. Alright, so now we're going to turn everybody back on, back out, whoop, out, that stroke was off by a bit, so it looked just really contrived, so wanted to just get rid of it. Alright, there we go. So now we are going to go with our one strange little piece. Jump back through our stuff here. Go with our marquee selection tool. Actually, we'll go with that object selection tool again. Alright, copy. Let's go Control Tab. Don't need that anymore. Don't need that anymore. Command W is close open window. D is do not save. Basically don't. So here we're going to paste again. We're going to jump back. Right. We're going to transform. Move this guy over here. The reason I'm doing this here is because in one of our adjustments we lost part of his hand. So if I can make this one a little bit close to the right size, we can put his hand back. If that's a little bigger. Alright. Nope, that ain't right because we'd have his hand way down there. There we go. So now we just say enter. Now we want to turn this and this and this off again and go in here with our, you guessed it, object selection tool. You can save a selection. You know, the other day I was looking at it, and if you go up here to select, it'll say save selection, and we could say Sarah. Alright, so now that we're in here, okay, we want to go like this, and then on this one, we want to hit delete, and that places her there. This one, we want to hit delete. That pushes him back a little. Now we need to select the other guy, deselect, go back in here, select this cat right here. Alright, and then we go back in here. Oh, let's use our lasso tool. Shift L until you get a regular lasso tool, and then we're going to hold Option and remove this part of the dad's face. Get a little bit closer. Make sure we're not losing any of his face. Oh, wish I hadn't done that stroke. Okay, now we just hit delete again. If we turn off this layer, oh, I see. We got a little help with his hat. Deselect. Oh. Huh. Let's see. All right, we want this. We want to move this guy over a little, so that's V. I want to put it in a spot where it just seems to come over his shoulder, just a little. Now we want to use our magic wand tool to select here, and then our brush tool. Want to be on that hand layer, get a bit closer. One thing that's going to mess with our, even though I don't know how many, I don't know how many ghosts leave shadows, but we're going to give it a shot. Want that to be bigger.